Hello viewers and welcome back to everyone's favourite Letterboxd log show, It's Last Month I Watched. I'm your host Jordan, and in case it wasn't incredibly obvious by now, this is the monthly Letterboxd log show in which we sit down and take a look at everything I watched the month before. This one is not too long an episode, which is really great because of the fact that I have left this super late to film. Getting right into things, on the 3rd I watched Skinamarink, which is an analogue horror film, probably the first feature-length analogue horror film I've seen, and I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was solid. I don't think this is the scariest film I've ever seen. I think TikTok vastly, over-exaggerated that. However, what I do think is that given the right childhood fears that you might have had, you're gonna be fucking terrified by this movie. I think the way it plays on a lot of fears that a lot of us would have had growing up is very well done. I think it leaves a lot for interpretation, and overall I just think it's a pretty solid effort. I'm writing a video on this, so I don't want to go into too much detail, so I will just tell you that I gave this one a 4-star and we'll move on from there. Moving on to the 6th, I watched Terrifier. Now Terrifier is a franchise that I've wanted to see for a while. I finally picked up the films with the intention of watching them, and I did just that. Terrifier 1, it's a good horror movie. It's goofy fun. I liked it more than the second one. It's just 90 minutes of gore, and I think that that's serviceable when it comes to horror. It is, albeit incredibly flawed. I'm not going to sit here and defend it because I don't think it deserves that. But if I remember this one correctly, it had a relatively small budget, so for what it accomplishes, I'd say it did a pretty good job. I ended up giving it a 6 out of 10, and then we move on to later on in that day. I then watched Terrifier 2. Now I gave this one a 6 out of 10 as well. However, do not let that distract you from the fact that I think this is vastly inferior to the first film. And I'm not going to say much on it because I do have thoughts that I'd maybe want to explore later on down the line in a fuller video. I think the majority of my issues stem from the fact that they made this one longer. Terrifier 1 works as a 90-minute goofy campy horror film. Terrifier 2 fails because it tries to push for that 2-hour mark, and I don't think it has the plot or the justification for that. So yeah, the Terrifier films, decent horror. I don't really know what else to say apart from that. 3 stars across the board. Then on to the 7th, I watched Puss in Boots, and I'd never seen this before. I don't think I'm ever gonna watch it again. You know, it's not bad, it's just incredibly passable. And I think if passable is the best thing you can say about your movie, it's probably not worth watching too many times. I gave this one a 3-star, and I watched it solely for the reason that on the 8th, I went to see Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And people, I fucking love this movie. Don't know why I went really raspy there, but this movie was so good. You know, I talked about it on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. You can watch one of those reviews if you want. I just thought it was great. I loved the stylization of the animation. I loved the characters. I loved everything about it. I won't talk about it too much because I have already covered it in an AFWO, so you can watch that if you want my actual thoughts on the film. Gave this one a 4.5 stars. Also on the 8th, it was a double billing for the cinema because I went to see Knock at the Cabin. Now, Knock at the Cabin was one that was getting pretty mixed reviews, albeit some of them saying that it was one of M. Night Shyamalan's best, the other one saying that it was probably one of his worst. So, just the usual M. Night Shyamalan release. Now, I don't think this movie was bad. I also don't think it was that great. I think there's a lot of potential here for a pretty solid movie. I think the acting across the board is solid. There's no one that stands out, but there's also no one that weighs the film down at all. Everyone is on a standard that, you know, it's passable, which just seems to be a theme with a lot of the fucking movies this month. I think it does struggle a little bit. I thought the ending was incredibly weak. I like the idea that it's going for. I don't think the execution quite pulls it off. So this one is another 3-star. We're getting quite a few of those, I think. On to the 14th, I watched Cars 3. Again, this was the day before my video release. No, it wasn't. Don't know why I even said that. This was like more than a week before it. I love Cars 3. I don't know if that's obvious. I have a whole video of it now that you can check out so that you can understand why it's one of my favourite Pixar movies. I gave it a 5-star. I'm not even going to speak on it at all. I'm just going to tell you to go and watch it. Then on the 16th, I watched Director by Night, the behind the scenes thing for Werewolf by Night. I hadn't watched it before, so I thought I'd check it out. There's nothing really much that I can say about it. I didn't bother giving it a star review. I wanted to let you know that I watched it. On to the 21st, it was back to the cinema for Marvel so I could see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now, this is being slandered online by pretty much everyone at this point. It's either mid, or it's garbage, or it's the worst thing that Marvel has produced yet. You know, just the usual thing that people say nowadays. I'm here to tell you, I like this movie. I don't think it's that bad. Yes, it's flawed, but every Marvel movie is flawed. I'm not going to sit here and listen to any sort of person tell me that there is a flawless Marvel movie, because there's not. Quantumania is goofy fun. I think the people that are saying that it's a bad Ant-Man conclusion, I'm not going to say wrong, because you're entitled to your opinion, but I disagree. I am debating this. I said I was going to make a video on this film. It's still being written. I don't know if I'm actually going to, because, you know, fun fact, the Cars 3 video kicked my ass copyright wise. Like, I had to upload 9 different versions of that, which I can understand. I understand that. However, it makes the video more engaging if I have, like, film footage. And I can't have film footage from Quantumania because it's not out yet. So I'm thinking, maybe do I sit on it for a few months until it releases on Disney Plus and I can actually get the footage and then do a video on it? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below. Moving on to the 24th, I watched Cars, which, yes, I understand might be a little bit confusing because of the fact that I watched Cars 3 on the 14th. I don't quite understand it either. I was watching it with a friend, they haven't seen the third one, and, you know, they wanted to watch my Cars 3 video because, you know, who wouldn't? It's an amazing video, please watch it. So, we got the Disney group watch thing, and then we just watched Cars, and I gave it a 4.5 star. I think this is a solid movie, there's not a whole lot wrong with it at all. On to the 26th, I watched a horror film called There's Something Wrong with the Children. It's fine. You know, common theme, yet again, it's a 6 out of 10. I wouldn't say it's fantastic, but I also wouldn't say I disliked it. I think it's got more going for it than against it, which, you know, always is a good thing with horror, because the minute it starts veering into the negative aspect, it's rough. But yeah, there's nothing particular that stands out at all about this movie. It's just a pretty solid film overall. I enjoyed it, and that's the important thing, because what is film if not a medium to be enjoyed? And then rounding off the month, on the 27th, which is yesterday as we're recording this, I went to the cinema to see Media 13 Movie of the Year for the 2024 Media 13 Awards, Cocaine Bear. I am joking with that, however, do not be surprised if this thing gets nominated for Most Surprising at the very least, because holy shit, this was a fun time. It's not going to be poking like the higher awards. I gave it a 7 out of 10, or a 3.5 stars. I thought it was a really fun movie. I always enjoy when these films know what they are and they play into that rather than trying to be serious or like take themselves more than, you know, what they are. Tell I'm rambling, you can tell I'm really trying to force this one out. I want to take a month off of LMIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIiIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIiIiIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIII lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I think there are moments where the comedy doesn't land at all, but then to counter that, there's moments where it is actually really funny. So I think it sort of cancels it out, and it makes a pretty funny movie, I will admit. It is kind of unfortunate that for Ray Liotta, or however you pronounce the surname, his last movie credit is Cocaine Bear. It's an interesting legacy to leave behind, admittedly, but you know, I'm sure he doesn't regret it. But that's going to do it for this month's installment of Last Month I Watched, everyone's favourite Letterboxd log show. Real quick, when you get down in the comments and let me know what you've been watching this month, I implore you, please leave a comment as so it helps me boost into the algorithm or however it works. I don't care if you type a letter, if you type your favourite movie, your least favourite movie, or just the word Lamau. But if you enjoyed this, also feel free to leave a like. It lets me know I'm doing something right with the content. And if you don't want to miss out on future content and you're new around here, you can also subscribe so that you don't miss it when it comes out. There may be 2 videos next month, as I don't know if I'm either going to cover Ant-Man and the Wasp or I'm going to do something on analog horror, because it's something I've been looking into a lot. I'm really hyper fixating on it. It's becoming an obsession. But yeah, we'll see what next month holds, or this month as you're watching this video. My name has been Jordan. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Don't be surprised if this is the last Lamau for 2 months.